Hi guys, it's Bob from Greybeard Models. Welcome back. Bit of a problem now, deciding what to build next. Excuse me. I don't know if you know, when you've been following my channel, you know I've got a few things on the go. One is this huge Panzer repair kit. I want to get on with that. The other one that I picked up, which is really interesting, is this Scammell tank recovery vehicle. Really wanted to do that. Got, obviously, to go with that, I bought the Valentine, the AFE Club Valentine. I also managed to get hold of some additional track kits for it, because the tracks weren't all that good. And then of course the big release, Katy Ambulance. I want to build that, and I just wondered, it's an interesting problem, isn't it? What do you build next when you've got kits in the stash that you really want to build? But anyway, going through all the sort of current faves, if you like, the current sort of top, I don't know, 5 kits, decided to do this one. Decided to do the Gecko kit. I haven't done a Gecko kit before, and obviously this is quite current, so I'm going to crack on with this. The only problem that I do have is that in a week's time I'm off on a little holiday. I'm going down to Cornwall in the southwest of the UK, doing a little hike around the coast there, and I'll also be going into Penzance. There's a IPMS model show at Penzance on the 10th, so I'm going to give that a little visit. I should be back into Penzance at that time, but yeah, so I've got that coming up. So in the meantime, let's get over to the bench and we'll have a look at the Gecko kit. So the first thing we're going to do is get all the parts off here for this first section, which is the key. With any vehicle that kit that you're building, obviously getting the chassis together and square is really important. So it's the key for everything to line up. So I've got all of the parts off the sprues there. They've now got to be dressed, and we'll put all this together, and I'll show you a couple of things that I use to make sure that this is square. One of the good things about the design of the chassis is that each of these cross members is actually different, so you can sort of lay them out on your workbench and have them in the right place. Now the trick now is to make sure that everything goes together square. One of the things I did want to mention, I've meant to mention it before, all of the parts for this kit have been cleaned. I washed them all, mainly because I've never done a Gecko kit before, so I don't know how it's going to react to things like paint and glue and stuff. So the next thing is to get all of these parts together and get everything squared up. And to do that, I use a couple of things. I have these metal blocks. Get the other one out. Right, those metal blocks, these are really good because you can actually set them and they won't move. The other thing that I use is I've got a set of engineer's squares. I've got these two here, and sometimes I use this one. This one's actually got my name engraved on it and a big blob of blue throw paint on it. I actually got given this in a toolkit that I got when I first started work as an engineering apprentice. And any of you out there that did an apprenticeship, you probably got the same thing. I've got a big box of spanners, and this was in amongst all the marking out equipment. I had a pair of dividers, odd legs, and all sorts of things, all sorts of tools. But this square I've had for, must be 51, 52 years, something like that. The point I'm trying to make is, when you see tools that people use and you think, oh, they're a lot of money, you know, I can't invest in them. If you do invest in tools, and they're good quality tools, they'll last you a lifetime, if not longer. But anyway, let's get back on to putting the chassis together. And of course, the other thing that you can use to try and ensure that everything is square is the grid lines that you've got on your cutting mat. They are extremely useful, and they will make sure that everything remains remains square, not fairly square, but remains square. And again, you can check using an engineer's square just to make sure that things are pretty much spot on. And then if you want to leave them overnight, which I do, I tend to do is just, I don't use clamps, because I find that if you use clamps too much, if they're not clamped correctly, you'll actually pull it out square. So usually if you've got everything in place and it's all sort of square on your cutting mat and all that sort of thing, then I think you'll find that's good to go. So we're now moved on a few steps from section 1. I've added this section 2, which is the front suspension, or the front springs, and then turn it over, and I've added the rear springs and these beams that support the body. And then I've gone on to fit these, but unfortunately, I'll just show you. Right, everything is in place. It's quite a delicate build. It's very much like mini art in that respect. So we've got the clamps in place here. Don't know if that's there you go, that's a bit better, isn't it? So we've got the clamps in place here, apart from one, and it's a bit of a shame. If I just move this back a bit, where is it? There it is. I've put this board here to allow for the camera to focus, because it was focusing on the grid pattern on the cutting mat, and when I cut this particular part off the sprue, one of the legs is actually broken, or I broke it. Bit of a faux pas there. So what I've got to do now is try and repair that. Now it's very, very difficult to repair a thin joint like that and give it any integrity. So what I'm going to do is actually cut the rest of this leg off, drill a little hole in there, and replace it with brass rod. And I'll get back to you in a second when I've done that. So that's where we are today. Chassis all done. The repair is done. Let's have a look at, let's see if I can pick that up there with the brass rod. That's all done. So all the repairs are done and it's all constructed, and we're up to this part here, and we've done that. So in the next video we'll start by putting the diff in, assembling the wheels and getting on to the engine construction. So if you've been with me so far, thanks for watching, appreciate that, and we'll see you again in the next one. Bye for now.